What's up, everybody? I'm Albie13. I wanted to basically go over the DMZ news. Call of Duty blog was updated today, and they have some information here in this image, but it's all detailed in this blog, I believe. So, I went over it, I looked over it, and let's talk about it a little bit and look at the new stuff. So, excuse me. What we're looking at here is Um, I want to focus specifically on the DMZ stuff and only stuff that I am fairly certain will involve DMZ because there's a lot of information here and looks like there's going to be a lot of content and updates and stuff. But there's a lot of multiplayer stuff, a lot of Warzone stuff that I don't want to focus on. But this is really interesting because Black Gold is based on the Rohan oil section of Al Mazrah. It's a night operations map. So that's a really cool thing to look at and see what the night view they're going for and in this iteration. So that's something to look at. Then we want to see continued part of the Rohan oil battle map. Okay, so and Satik Cave also has battle map stuff. But again, focusing on DMZ, I just have to get to the DMZ stuff. It's all multiplayer stuff, Warzone specifically, Resurgence, and Plunder, which is very interesting. If you're only here for DMZ, Plunder is all about getting money. So it's kind of like a heist version of DMZ, a simplified version, or a cousin to the Warzone. Let me see what they say there, because I don't know if Plunder. I definitely like a couple of things, which is one, it seems like they're putting in a defensive mode or horde mode, cooperative thing that you can do. And then Plunder, which is kind of like also, again, working together, getting as much money as possible, getting more money than the competition. So it's in the same vein of DMZ. Team with the most cash wins. Eliminate players to make money. Pick up valuables. Scavenge supply boxes and loose money. Complete contracts and in-game events to make money. So it's fun. I had fun with it. And it's a great opportunity to level up weapons. They have a new gulag. Very cool. But again, try to focus on DMZ, but they just put so much stuff before we get to DMZ. But there is a lot of DMZ stuff in here based on what I just looked at. So here we go. DMZ overhaul. So they decided to call this an overhaul of DMZ. And we just had a interesting question asked, which is, are they going to touch the missions? Well, we know that they're adding new missions. And they're adding all these different systems in. So it sounds like they're going to. It sounds to me like they're going to leave the missions intact. They're going to add a new missions to what's already there, which that could work. So let's see. They start by saying there's a new barter system. There's a workbench, and we're going to go right into what they have. So the barter system. Um, One of the biggest additions since the launch of DMZ is the barter system, a way to award operators who stock up on items and can reach buy stations to swap them for other valuables. So what they're saying is they want to give you they want to have a way to reward the DMZ players who are able to loot a lot of stuff or valuable stuff and who can reach the buy station. So you're talking about map control. So as a reward for doing those things, you can swap for other valuables. So that could be helpful if you need mission for a specific item, but you don't have what you need, but you have other things that you could trade for. So this is happening in game. They're talking about buy stations, and then they go on to mention the trader. So it's like they're talking about some kind of shop owner or trader that will be there, which will let you do this kind of barter system business. Then it goes on to say the trader or the barter system may not have what you want, but they will always have what you need. Okay. Is that cryptic or what? I mean, based on what I'm seeing here, they don't have your special mission item, for example, but they will have the ability for you to trade into stuff that you usually need. Extra plates. I don't know. Even if it comes to gear, can you trade valuables for gear instead of? I mean, it's kind of like what we already had because you had the ability to convert into cash and then buy gear. So I'm not sure if they're looking for specific things that you can trade for. I don't really know, but I'm reading through here. There's no peer-to-peer trading through this system. So they right off the bat they say you're not going to be trading with other players. Okay. You are still free to swap items during a match with friendly operators. So they're saying you should be trading with other people. I'll drop you a gold bar, you drop me a gold skull, we'll trade, just as an idea, which rarely happens because you don't have safe areas to trade. Once you start getting into friendly, either you let people be, or you may team up, or you may just decide to go separate ways in a neutral position. But super rarely does actual trading of items happen, unless there's some intricate mission or something like that. No, this is really funny that they are referencing the DMZ taxis, which has been, they've been talking about their exploits, and they basically give people rides around the map. So they say, especially to those who operate these taxi services, we heard they are incredibly helpful. So for people who don't have a way to get around, especially now, the taxi thing makes a lot more sense because it's really hard to find vehicles now. They're very few and far between and only in certain places, and the spawns can be rough. So, okay. So they're talking about now. Let's just move right down to the workbench. You see a 3D printer there. You see all kinds of gunsmithing stuff. And what they say is that you'll find these nearby stations, and it allows you to modify existing contraband weapons. So weapons that you get that are considered contraband, they're not custom guns. You can pay cash, and you can add attachments that you have unlocked. So that means that if you have them available to you to be put on guns in your home, then you have the option of purchasing those unlocked attachments. It says that you can remove pieces as well. So I'm guessing if you really don't like something, let's say you don't like thermal scope, but you do want to have a good scope, you take the thermal off, and now your scope attachment slot is available, and you can put a scope on. You can buy one, or vice versa. You don't like a regular scope, you think a thermal is going to help you, so you can take off the regular scope and put the thermal on by buying it. So they have basically critical changes which is basically kind of what you look at when you go and you look at contraband weapons. You'll typically find at the even the best contrabands are missing a key attachment. Case in point, it's almost never that you find a contraband with a silencer, whereas people think that silencers or suppressors are very important in DMZ. So this, in theory, you could attach one to the gun, just as an example. Specifically, they say those when a 5.5 times scope does not fit on a fast firing SMG, or when a sniper rifle needs an extended mag, the workbench will become another way to spend that hard-earned cash on something impactful for the infiltration and beyond. If you're able to get it home, you can save it as a contraband with upgraded or tuned to your spec. So that definitely is really sweet. It's very interesting. It's definitely a nice complexity that they have there. Okay, next we move on to active duty operator slots. The way this was explained is that you have different characters. In this case, they show specifically 1 of 4. So we're getting an indication on the screen. You can have up to 4. I do not know if you need to unlock these or earn these or what it's dependent on, but it says that it seems to be that what you have here is a loadout that is a DMZ loadout, or gear as we call it, and you have a character tied to it. So you have your skin that you choose how that person looks, and then they have the standard set of things that they could have. So you could have your backpack, your kill streak, up to a 3 plate holder, up to a durable gas mask, and you have a self revive loaded. And then it appears that you have dog tags, which can be anywhere from bronze to Damascus. And then in addition to that, it's showing that you have exfil streak. So the perks from exfil, which are supposed to be there and supposed to be helpful, are tied to the character as well. So the way this was explained is if you have let's say you have a work character that goes around and might die. So if you die with that character, you don't have to risk your gear. You don't have to risk your 10 fill streak that you have when you're trying to help somebody, which changes the dynamic because before it was like, well, no, I don't want to do any of these basic missions or help people because I'm fully geared and I have my perks. So now it's a case where I'm trying to focus on doing a high level mission now that I'm ready with that and guns that I'm risking. And it just automatically you were just like ruling out the ability to play anything with helping people or doing other things. Let's say you want to switch gears and you're tired of being tense or stressed and you want to just play much more light. So you'll just go with something that won't risk all this stuff. So you don't have that whole fear of losing the gear thing. So that is what they seem to be showing off. They go on to say that in season 3, you don't have just one operator to infiltrate the deniable areas. Every player will start with 3, which seems to be able to go up to 4, unless they're saying 3+1, which is your standard. Every player starts with 3, which equates to having 3 separate operators who have their own items, etc., just as I mentioned. You can choose which active duty operator that you bring in, meaning that you can calculate risk to whatever missions you want to tackle or the type of experience you want to have for that match. Then they provide examples. Story missions and Building 21 stack up with 3-plate carrier and a self-revive kit. And you have another character that's built for scavenging items. You only have a 1-plate carrier. You go around looking for stuff that you might be able to take out and you risk getting out, and somebody might snipe you, but you don't really care because you were running without all your gear and the whole point was for you to scavenge. So that makes sense because you don't so sometimes you don't even want to go get stuff. But now the dynamic here is it's much more expanded here because now you have the ability. I think this is I don't want to say that this is a compromise. What this is basically what we have here is a system for you to save a gas mask. You could save based on this. You can save 3 backpacks, 3 plate holders, 3 kill streaks, 3 self, 3 gas masks. So now all of a sudden they're all saved at home. Why can't all your characters have all that gear? If you're able to go in, get the gear, bring it out, all of a sudden you're a DMZ badass. You're able to have all this stuff. For the lesser people who can only manage to maintain their A1, their primary character that has the best stuff, then they can have that one slot. They can have a medium or low or cycle between medium and low, and then when they really need to go all out and try to get a mission done, they can use their highest end character that they have. Okay, so they specifically say hello to the new faction. Here we have what is marked as special operations. We see a couple of things here, notably the skull, which references killing players. A diamond. The diamond is typically a marked player on the UAV and the map, TAC map. So that's kind of what I'm reading on this. Lightning is kind of like moving fast. So that's what I'm seeing here. Let's see what they say about it. An unknown faction redacted. So they haven't released the faction name. They don't talk about the faction story. Is coming to season 3. So season 3 day 1 will have access to this new faction. So it appears, unless the new faction stuff, like for example, they don't let you do the new faction until you do certain level of other faction stuff. So it could be that this is locked behind something that you need to do. But it says here, this new faction will have 3 mission tiers at launch, and 2 additional tiers will be added in season. For a total of 5, like a complete faction. They are doing a drip of missions that you'll be able to have access to the first 3 tiers, presumably a little easier. So if you do 3 easier tiers, that might equate to the time it takes you to do 2 difficult tiers. What else do we have? New and remixed missions. Okay. They're introducing a new set of faction missions and a new contract. Okay. New faction missions. Remixed missions? New missions? Okay, well this is kind of news on my interpretation here. There's going to be new and missions that are modified from the existing set, which that could work. That is the secure. Okay, so they're talking about the new contract, which is the green phone that you pick up on the map. Secure supplies contract. We had destroy supplies contract, but not a secure supplies. Flags, containers in the exclusion zone with essential gear for this experience. It's a great way to get your operator built up after a previous run in DMZ where you failed to extract. So this looks like an alternative way for you to get gear. And this is like a small version or a micro version of a weapon raid contract. Possibly where a weapon raid contract might have been originally designed to loot up a full 3-man team. This could seem like if you're a duo, for example, or even a solo, maybe doing these supplies contracts will be more approachable. At the same time, this could also introduce, if players are looking to do the secure supplies contract, then other players know that the people may not have the supplies. So that could be a bit of PvP attraction there, where it's going to be like you're doing this at your own risk. You typically want to do secure supplies when you know that your area is safe, and that also depends on what you have to do and how far you have to go. So this is very interesting. It feels like DMZ. We're gonna see how that works, because we need to see what you get and what you have to do. And I think that we could put 2 and 2 together here and say that of these new missions, there's going to be do secure supplies contract as a new mission, which would just make sense for you to get people into that. And possibly even get certain supplies from the secure supplies contract and maybe dead drop it or exfil with it or put it on, perhaps even something like that. Who knows? All right. There was a confirmation of 2 new bosses. They say bosses here. There's 2 new bosses, and we seem to be having somebody here with very heavy duty with some explosive containers. So it seems, is that yeah. So that's all we could really make of this. Be prepared to face new threats across the exclusion zones, so that means more than one map. 2 bosses that Intel suggests that it doesn't, they haven't fully said everything about it here. deep underground in Al Mazrah. So deep underground in Al Mazrah. I don't know how deep underground. It's not much here, but they're just confirming 2 new bosses. But we have plenty more to share as part of a dedicated DMZ blog that will be released before Season 3's launch. Oh, they're doing this again. So they're really... Now, I will say, by them at least taking the time to write and show DMZ stuff, they are taking care of the community here. This is really good. So we expect another DMZ blog with just for DMZ as it's dedicated. They're going to be expanding upon the new backpacks and plate carrier types, because I asked this of someone. Is there a new plate carrier type in DMZ? Well, sure does look that way, because the Call of Duty blog just confirmed that. So we will get to that specific point there at the 2 points. So they haven't shown the new backpacks here. This is about other stuff, rank play, etc., general overview, etc. So let me focus on a couple things here. So they just mentioned the new backpacks, which you will see that they actually have a picture of the 2 new backpacks. And what I see here is a reskin of the yellow one, which is black with blue highlights. And there's a new type of backpack that might have been ripped similarly from one of the other skins and just remade. So what it sounds like is that you will be able to choose your backpack skin or possibly loot variations of your backpack, which, as it works in other games, when you pick up a backpack, a large backpack has X amount of slots. So, but it just could be cosmetic. So it's hard to say what it is, or if you have to trade into it or purchase it or anything like that. But this is super interesting, and hopefully this is done in a very cool way, because I'd like to have preferences, possibly save backpacks at home, collect backpacks, who knows? A lot of possibilities there. Then we have what is mentioned here as tempered plate carrier. Now, it's not clear what they're doing for DMZ for plates, but I know that the tempered plate carrier is when you carry a plate holder that has 2 extra large plates in it versus 3 purple plates. So they say that you have to plate less, I guess, because you only have 2, and it takes longer to wear those plates down. I assume, since they have more damage absorbing capability, and I guess that this would be ideal for DMZ, because if you need to fix your plates less, it preserves your plates more. You have more resource conservation, so that should be better for DMZ. Although it does feel safe when you lose a plate and you go to a third and you still have 2. I mean, it's more of a psychological feeling that you don't feel like you're down on plates. And if you lose 1, you lose half of a tempered plate carrier. So you feel like you're half, and then you're starting to damage your last plate. So psychologically, this feels worse, but it is better for resources. So we'll see how that works. And then we have new operators, which is sweet. But specifically, we have the new weapons here. If I can't show that right now. But anyway, we'll be showing it, because since we're getting the update for DMZ coming soon, I'll have another opportunity to show the weapons. But there is the Imperium sniper rifle. They call it the FJX. It is thought around from the sniper players that this is going to be the new meta, or one of the meta picks for sniper. So we're gonna see about that. We have a Cronin Squall, bullpup design, probably heavy hitting, slow rate of fire. That would seem to fit what they've typically done with multiplayer. That is Warzone weapons. So I don't think we quite have something like that. So that's a possibility for something of interest. And then you have looks like a automatic pistol with a small magazine. I think we've seen something like this in the past for Warzone. There were some guns added that were for when they integrated the old world stuff, and this is like an old pistol design, I think. So we've seen something like this. I just couldn't reference it easily here, but I think that covers DMZ for now. Now, knowing that we're going to get another update, I probably have to make another video. So I'll see you when you come back for that. I hope you found this to be interesting. Hit the thumbs button and let me know you watched it, what you thought. Hopefully you like what's happening with DMZ, and hopefully I like what they do with DMZ with all this stuff. It will be interesting to play with all this stuff. The new missions, it's going to be very important that they get the missions at least better than what they've done. All right, peace.